Okay, now we're officially going live, I think.
Okay.
Yes, we are live now. Excellent.
Hold on. I'm trying to get the website. There it is.
Okay. Welcome everyone to another live episode of Fast Lap with Chrissy and Deb. We have Jenny, Michelle, Chrissy, Emily, Suzette, and Natalie Decker joining us. How are you doing, Natalie?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Of course. We had so much fun last time. We had to have you come back on again.
It was
Thank you for
really
doing
fun.
this whole live thing with us too. This is really cool. We started to do a little bit of interacting with fans and giving some people a chance to chat, just experiment. So it's really kind of new and fun, and we really appreciate
it. Yeah, it's nice. Thank you.
Of course.
So I want to talk about Trans Am weekend for a little while. I love that shirt.
It's so fun.
So how different is your Audi R8 compared to anything you've driven in NASCAR?
It is so much different. So I started in go-karts, I did stock cars, I've done a couple things on dirt. I've driven a Trans Am car. It's called the TA1 in the Trans Am series. I've done all of these things, but the Audi is completely different. I've even driven some Formula 3 cars and what they race at the Rolex at Daytona. Those they call them LMP3s. So I've done so many different cars, but the Audi is just so different. So it's a really, really heavy car. But you have traction control, you have ABS, which it's so you can't lock up the brakes. So you have all of this weird stuff that technical stuff that will help you drive faster and push the car faster than you normally do in the Xfinity series or trucks or any stock cars. We don't have that. So it's really odd. It's a really, really fast car, but it's really heavy. But it has all of this really cool things in it that I've never experienced. And traction control and then the ABS is what I was really different out of everything for me. And I really enjoy it. It's really fun because you can drive the car so far into the corner and wait the last second to get on the brakes because it's impossible to lock up the tires. So it's really fun.
Awesome. So that was your first time on the Roval too, am I right?
Yeah, that was my first time on the Roval besides doing stuff on my sim.
What did you think of it? Did you like it?
So I loved it. When I was on my sim, I practiced with a coach that I work with, and he's in California, and I work with him in person and a lot on the simulator. And I loved it right away. On the simulator, it was so much fun. It was such a cool track. And then I get to the speedway and everything, when you go from a simulator to the real world, there's always just a few things that are different. Sometimes some of the corners might need more brake pressure than it did on the sim, or you might be in a different gear. There's always just some minor details that you have to work out, but nothing ever too crazy. It's very usually spot on. And my favorite corner in the sim was the last corner that was going up onto NASCAR turn 1, right when you're coming onto the banking. It was so much fun on the sim, but in real life, it was terrifying. I hated the corner. I was this is not, I don't like this corner. I like the whole track besides that one corner. But it was really fun. It was the best track that I've gone to in the Trans Am series, where we just unloaded and we were fast right away. There was nothing I really had to work on. It was just very minor details. So that was really nice, just unloading and not having too much to work on. I really enjoyed that part.
That's awesome.
That's
so we apparently now have a mutual friend, and you went go-karting?
Yes.
And he's in the chat. He says hi. Philip says hi.
Hi.
So are you as competitive going to do that with your friends as you are on the track?
Oh, for sure. Even when we go there as a family, or it's just Derek and I, or we're going with our friends, no matter who I'm going there with, I go as hard as I can and try to be as fast as I can, no matter what. And we'll be in a race where we have, random people we don't even know that come in and want to race the same night we're there. And it's just, you know, they end up being in our race, and I will race these random people as hard as I race my boyfriend Derek or my dad or one of my sponsors or a friend. And Derek loves it because he says it's so fun to follow me and watch me, because he says I'm just careless on the go-kart track. Like, but it's so much fun to be just careless on the go-kart track, especially when you don't know anyone.
Right. Poor guy's like just trying to have fun, and he's like, why is she
I'm just spinning them out.
Like rough driving. That's awesome. I bet that's so much fun. I love it.
When you do that and you spin some random person out that you don't know, when it's over, are you like, hi, I'm sorry? Or are you just like, oops?
So we have this joke that, so I do this all the time. So we'll tell people, we'll be like, well, because we can't hear them. So you have to point at them, and then you point to your head, and that means like use your head. So even though I was in the wrong, we'll always joke and we'll laugh and we'll point at him, and I'll pretend it's his fault.
Nice. That's awesome.
And that is so fun. And then we all like, then usually by the end of the like go-kart race, I always meet the random people that were in our race, and then they find out that I race in the NASCAR series, and it's really fun, and we all take pictures, and then I usually get, you know, make fans and friends that way. But it's really fun at the time. And Derek and I, like, date night going to the go-kart track is so much fun and very competitive.
I bet it sounds
You way to get stress out too. Like,
oh yeah.
I love it. That's a really good way to look at it too. Like when you tell them that you race, and they're like so excited that now they're going to follow you. And also maybe if they don't watch NASCAR, it'll help get more people into it, you know, because then they're like, oh, well, I met her, so I want to see what she does. And then they see you and they're like, oh, wow, she's pretty badass. And then they watch the rest of it, and it's like, oh, now we have new fans. So
exactly.
Doing good for NASCAR all around. She's just doing God's work out here. No.
So are you planning to kind of balance it out and do more Trans Am with your NASCAR career? And could you choose between the two if you had to?
I could not choose. Like, that would be the hardest decision of my life, because it's very hard to make a career in road racing, in the Trans Am series, and be financially being able to like live your life and just do that. That's difficult. If I could figure out a way to do that, I would be racing more road course races and then NASCAR on the side probably. But since it's the other way around, and I just love short track racing. I come from stock car racing. There's just something about being able to be that close to other drivers and be leaning on each other's cars and pushing each other. In road racing with these cars, you can't do that. There's no touching another car. Like, it's not just a fender that you can unbolt and replace. It's an actual physical car that's off the street. So it's way more expensive when a little dent or scratch happens to the Audi than it is an Xfinity car. And since I grew up doing all of this short track racing and ovals, it's just, it's so much my whole life and my whole heart. It would be so hard for me to decide. But the side of road racing that's so amazing is you get to the track. Here's the best way to explain it. So an Xfinity race is done, and you come down pit road, they check your lug nuts and they point you where to go. The night's over, you talk with your team, you debrief, you go home. Road racing, you take the checkered flag, no matter how well you did or how bad you did, or if you made mistakes or you had your best race of your whole career, every single person from a flag, like corner worker, to fans, to crew members, to the wives, the husbands, everybody that's standing around the track watching, they all clap and wave and cheer you on right at the end. And everyone comes up and talks to you. And it's just like really like homey feeling and really welcoming. And I really like that about the road racing side of things. Everything is just so positive all the time. There's never a negative moment when you're road racing, like no matter what, even though you're always competitive and want to do your best. It's just like everybody in the atmosphere and everybody involved is just so amazing. And that's the part that I fell in love with years ago when I started racing with Ave Motorsports.
Aw, sounds like there's no, trackside fights or anything in the middle of.
Like never.
Sounds like I need to go to a Trans Am race because that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. And another way to put it is NASCAR, when you win, you celebrate by drinking beer. And when you win in road racing, you celebrate by drinking champagne. So like that's another way to show the difference. Yeah.
Oh, fancy. I can see that. I like that. That's fun. So we have a question in our chat from Terry. He says, what does Natalie think about all of the celebrities that are coming into NASCAR, and how much does it make the sport better? We've had a lot this past couple weeks.
Yeah, I think it's so cool how many people are now becoming like involved with the sport, or, you know, just fans of the sport. And I think it's going to do the sport really good to have that. And it's exciting to see because, like, you know, I look up to these people, and it's just really cool to see all of it evolving and changing, and more people getting excited about racing.
That's a good point. And it's fun because I feel like it's kind of a domino effect, because it's like you see one big name and then it turns other people's names, because like with Michael Jordan, they're like, whoa, hold on, he's into NASCAR. So then they do research, and seeing more and more other sports come into it, like football and everything. I think it's great, and you can bring extra fans in, because now you're tapping into their fan base and their niche. So I feel like this year is kind of a turning point for NASCAR, especially after last year with quarantine and everything kind of bringing more attention to it. Now it's like double. So I agree. I think it's awesome. So Suzette, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then go ahead and get your questions.
Oh, sorry. I guess it's my phone that's doing that.
Turn your speakers down.
Oh, sorry. Better?
It's echo, but at least we don't have an alien.
Oh my God, sorry about that.
It kind of sounds cool.
Hi, Natalie, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. I have a few questions. What actually got you into racing sport cars?
Oh, I like that. Okay, so my sponsor, N29, him and his wife were very into road racing before, I was even alive. Like, they were into racing. They loved the road racing stuff and the sports cars and all of that. So when they found out that a good friend of my dad, Tony Avi, had a team, they were very interested in somehow getting involved with that and getting me involved with him, and figuring out, how we can go do some fun races at some road courses, especially because Road America is like right in their backyard where they live, and then it's my home state. So they were really excited to know that my dad had that friendship with Tony Avi, and they really started it. Like, I never thought I would have the interest in doing it. It would always be fun if I got the opportunity to do it, but I never was going out and trying to pursue that and make it happen. So when my sponsor was like, hey, what do you think about this? Like, why don't you think, like, wouldn't it be fun to go out and try and like test this car or be a part of this series and go to some of these tracks? And I was like, of course, yeah, I would love to do it. And then as soon as I started getting into it, I absolutely fell in love with road racing.
That's awesome. And you do such a great job at it. I'd love to go and see you race at a track. Definitely.
Thank you.
Sorry about the echo.
It's fine.
Adds an extra dimension. It's fine.
Another question I have for you, Natalie, is how was your experience when you were driving, when you were trying out for the W Series? And would you ever think about trying out again?
It was so much fun. So the first tryout was in Austria. I believe it was there. Yeah. And we did this whole training for about a week. And it was all this crazy stuff that I've never even heard of or seen or thought that this was a thing. But they had this track that you would drive on, and you had to be going, it was in kilometers, so I don't even remember, but I'm just going to guess it was probably around 40 miles per hour. And as soon as you drove over this like patch, that was probably about the size of like maybe 4 feet by 4 feet. It was a small patch, but the patch would shift. So as soon as you drove over it and your rear end tires were on it, the whole asphalt underneath you would move. So it would kick your car sideways. And at the same time, they had all these like sprinkler systems going. So the whole track was wet. And since it was cold at the time, it was turning into ice as well. And so that was one thing they had us do. Another thing they had us do is they put um, like a scooter type thing on the back wheels of a car, both back wheels, so they were up in the air and the car could move like back and forth. And they made us drive like on a like fake road course. They coned it out, and we had to drive through these cones, and the car was shifting from back and forth, like right to left. So it was all these really fun things, and that was my first tryout with them. And I just really enjoyed it. It was so much fun. I had the best time, and I had no expectations because all of the girls that were there trying out were amazing road racers. A lot of them had so much experience in Formula 3 cars or, you know, just that type of vehicle. And I had no experience. I come from stock car racing. I sit on the left side, not in the middle of a car. So it was very intimidating, but we did really well and I made it to the next round. And then I had to test the Formula 3 car against all the other ladies that made it through that first session of testing. And that's when it got difficult because I've never driven anything like that. And it was my first time in a Formula 3 car. And I remember my first session, I go out, it's all wide open. So your helmet's like out in the wide open space. And there's a car in front of me and she must have like kicked up some rocks. Like a tire just dropped a little off track and all the rocks were hitting my helmet. And I was like, what is this? I don't know if I like it. So it was so different. I struggled a lot and I didn't get to make it to be involved in the whole series that they did. But I did get some opportunities from some teams that were overseas that were also there coaching and helping with data and part of the W series. They had some teams as well and they had offers for me to come race overseas and do some stuff, so that was cool. I met a lot of people and a lot of connections, but I was just like, my heart's here with NASCAR and I can do some awesome road racing here in the States and have a roll cage all the way around my head and a windshield.
Right. Well, I love the NASCAR, so I'm glad you're staying here. You did great. I remember following you during that time, and I'm so proud of you. You did a great job.
Thank you.
My last question for you is: would you ever consider owning a NASCAR team sometime down the line?
So when I first got into racing, especially when I was moving up into the ARCA series, I was really trying to think of like the big picture. What am I going to do long term when when I'm done racing the car and I want to have a family? Like, what am I going to do to, be able to put food on the table with my family and all this stuff if I'm not going to be racing? And I thought of that. I was like, owning a team and investing everything that we make through the years of me racing, if I can, eventually own a team, I thought that would be a really good idea. But as I started being in the racing, like NASCAR world longer and longer, I realized it was something I don't think I would enjoy very, very much. It's a lot of work. Those people that own teams and being close with a lot of the team owners. I remember racing when I was with DGR, and I just remember that was the first truck team, and that was the first thing I ever did in the top 3 series of NASCAR, and seeing all the behind the scenes and everything and how much money it costs to go racing. I was like, I don't know. It's already stressful enough to be a driver. I don't know if I could be an owner too. I mean, it's nothing I would not turn down, but another goal after I saw all of that and realized maybe that's something I'm not too interested in. I thought about doing stuff like commentating and maybe one day being able to be in the booth or doing pit road stuff in the future. I think I would really enjoy that a lot. And then also I wouldn't mind having a smaller team, like nothing in NASCAR, like doing short track stuff, or my boyfriend's really into dirt bike racing and just having a couple dirt bikes and going dirt bike racing and owning things like that and helping young kids in short tracks and maybe even legend cars, because he raced legend cars, him and his dad, and he loves it. And I thought that's a little less stressful, little more easygoing, and then we can always help others and tell them what we learned when we were working our way up through the ranks and then finally in NASCAR. So like I feel like I would do better at that and helping the young kids that want to come up through the sport.
Oh, I know you'd be great at it. You're a great role model for all ages.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you so much, Natalie. It's good talking to you.
I know who to call now. Like when Ronan starts racing, I'll be like, okay, Natalie, I need you to give my boy some help.
We'll come help.
Sounds good. I'll let him know. He's getting antsy. We're actually like in the process of starting to research buying of his first quarter midget because he's 5. So it's overwhelming. I'm like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, especially quarter midgets.
Yeah. I know. I was like, wow, that's that's a lot. Anyway, so with that said, Jenny, why don't you go ahead and say hi and do your questions?
Hi, Natalie. It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. So staying on the line of racing, I was wondering if you knew or you could tell us when we could expect to see you back in the Xfinity series.
So my next race is going to be Talladega, and that's in April. So that's coming up really soon. I was just talking, actually, I wasn't. Derek was talking with my team. I overheard him talking on the phone. They're coming out with a press release soon, and soon the car will be wrapped. So you'll be seeing the whole car very soon, next couple of weeks, and a press release very soon. But the next race is Talladega, and it will be with Our Motorsports in the 23 car.
That's so exciting because I'm friends with the crew chief, so I know like your car is so ready to go.
Yay!
Awesome. Yay! Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
So is Jay with Red Street Records joining you again, or do we have another sponsor? Or
Red Street Records will be there at Talladega, and they will be on the car. It'll be very similar to what the Daytona car was like, but I believe the hood will be different. I don't think Jason will be on the hood for Talladega. It might be a different artist or whatever they decide. So Derek's working on that, and hopefully soon we'll have the wrap on the car and we can unreveal it to everybody and everyone can see it.
That'll be so exciting. Great, that's wonderful. So my second question is, I know you have documented pretty well your struggles with the rheumatoid arthritis, and my grandma had that, and I know like she was just in constant pain all the time. So I was just wondering, like, how do you handle that when you're trying to race? I know the medications probably help you some, but I'm sure it doesn't take away all of the pain.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that I can try and do to help, but I'm still learning as I go. And I work really closely with a lot of different doctors that really help me out a lot. But there's good days and bad days. And it's really unfortunate when a bad day lands on an important day, like race day or a meet and greet, or if I have a big media day. And a lot of the times it does. And what I have to do is just really be aware of my energy, because with having an autoimmune disease, your energy can be spent very easily just by getting ready in the morning and showering. I mean, half your energy is gone after that. So just being really aware and making sure I'm resting in between events that I have, or if, let's say a bad day lands on a race day and I'm just exhausted and in a lot of pain, I just take a lot of time for myself, and I just make sure I take care of myself and really make the whole day about me. And even no matter what, I should make it about me, but I really make sure that if I have to, sit down and have a meeting with my crew chief or a team or go over video, I make sure I'm comfortable and I do it in a space that I'm comfortable, so I don't have to waste energy. And that's what I've learned a lot, is just try to make sure I'm always putting myself in a comfortable spot to sit or relax, even if I have to do a lot of work and be like turned on and not being able to rest and actually sleep. But that's all you can do. But the medication does help a lot, but there's still bad days.
Sure. Okay, well, my third question, I was wondering, like, what, like, kind of reaction or what typical reactions do you get from people that don't know you when you tell them that you're a race car driver? And have you ever gotten a negative response from someone?
I've never gotten a negative response, but I have gotten people say, "You're too small," or "You don't look old enough to even have your license." And I'm like, true, I don't look old enough, but I promise you, let me show you a picture.
That's awesome.
That's so funny. Like it's a compliment, but at the same time, you're like, I swear, I'm not lying. So before I go into like our next set of questions, I have someone that just wanted to come and say hi. Easton, my son, come here.
Oh my goodness, hi.
She's right there. So I told her that last time I talked to you about the picture, and now he wanted to say hi.
So cute.
And he's of course being an awkward boy. So you good? All right. Have a good night.
It's good to see you.
Boys, man, whoo, they are something else. Kids in general, they are something else. So anyway, I also just wanted to say about like with your arthritis, I love that you work on having sponsors kind of related to stuff that's personal to you. And I think that's really important because you help bring a lot of awareness to it, and it helps kind of explain your situation and gets people interested in it. So I just want to say that I love seeing it, and I think it's really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's neat that you're open with it because, you know, there for a long time, there was a little bit of a stigma about being open with medical issues that drivers faced. And especially after Dale Jr. and his concussions, it kind of opened a door where more drivers can talk about their medical struggles and how they overcome those and are still racing and are still, you know, doing really well at it. So it's really like refreshing to hear, yes, this, you know, I have this, but this is not defining me. I'm more than whatever medical diagnosis I was given.
Exactly. And I love trying to share my story as much as I can. And there's so much that goes into it that I can't share all of it, but I try my best to. But it was very scary trying to open up about it because I didn't want people to look at me differently or think like that it would slow me down or make me not be able to excel in the sport or be just as good as the other drivers. And it's so crazy because a lot of fans of mine and new fans have come in after I've talked about it. And so many people have autoimmune diseases. And there's just so much that goes into it. And it's so crazy because there'll be days where I can't even walk up and down my stairs. And then 2 days later, I'll be racing a car, but be perfectly fine. So it's just like, it fluctuates so much and you never know when you wake up what your day is going to be like. You just got to be mentally prepared for what's going to come next.
Well, that is definitely a test to your strength too, as like a human and a driver, because not only they always talk about how hot it can get. The drivers are now posting, you know, you guys are sharing some of your rates, your heart rates and all that from when you raced. But imagine, you know, it's your situation, but like having to deal with that if you're not feeling good. So just wanted to tell you, if no one's told you lately, you're doing amazing and we're really proud of you and you are a badass. So keep doing what you're doing because people are always going to say something, but you know what? They're not what you're doing. So, oh well, to them.
Thank you.
Yes, we all remember the person who was being mean on Twitter. So we just had to say, we got you.
Oh, I love you guys.
We love you.
So, Michelle.
Hi, Natalie.
Hi.
Okay. My first question is, do you like playing pranks on others? And if so, what's the best prank you have played on someone? And what's the best prank played on you?
Oh gosh, I do like playing pranks on others. And is it today April Fool's, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I did not play a prank. I wanted to so bad. I really wanted to put a ring on my finger and take a picture saying Derek asked me to marry him and put it all over social media, then tell everyone it was April Fool's. But I thought that'd be a bad idea because my dad would probably call me and be like, wait, what?
Not to mention the absolute.
I really wanted to do that today, but that didn't happen. But yes, I have. I've done a few pranks. So my favorite one in the whole entire world is kitchen sinks. I don't know if they have this anymore because mine doesn't at my home here, but my home in Eagle River, where I grew up, the kitchen is a little bit older style. So you know how you have your faucet, and then next to your faucet, you have the little thing you can pull out and like squeeze the button and rinse dishes off. Well, I would tape that down with clear tape and then ask my mom to get me a glass of water, and then she would get soaking wet. I did that to her all the time. I don't know how she never saw it coming because I did it like weekly.
You're like, you should know by now.
Right?
Do it to me. Like, that's your perfect opportunity to get revenge on me. That's so funny. I'm sure she doesn't fall for that anymore, but maybe you need to bring it back when she's not expecting.
I think we need to bring it back.
That sounds like a great, like, easy prank to pull on anyone. Like, what's funny is I don't really play pranks. I try, but I am the worst at like keeping things this. I give myself away. But ironically, like randomly, when I found out I was having Easton, it was actually on April Fool's Day. It legit found out I was pregnant on April Fool's Day, and I was like, he's never gonna believe me. This is awful. Like, and I'm not one that's like, yeah, that's a funny prank. I'm like, it was terrible. So yeah, I was like, obviously this is not an April Fool's joke. So that's like my best April Fool's story. Everything else is just your typical like, oh, that's funny.
That's such a good story though, that you found out on April Fool's.
I did. And even my best friends didn't believe me. I had to, send them the positive picture. And I was like, I swear this is not something I would joke about. I was like happy and excited and then crying like all day like this. It was very, yes. And when he came home, I was trying to have a straight face. And as soon as I saw him, I just started crying, and then I was laughing, and then I was crying again. So. Good times. Anyway, sorry, I had to tell you guys that story. Michelle, back to your question.
Okay, and what about the best prank played on you, Natalie?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I've gotten a prank played on me. And maybe
there
I
you
have.
Go. Somebody's gonna do one now.
I know. I mean, maybe I have, and I just don't remember. My brother was very mean to me, so I think he pulled pranks on me.
Okay. My daughter did the same thing to her dad that you did to your mom. So
I love it.
We've seen that in our household too. Okay.
Yeah.
My next question. It seems your family was into snowmobile racing at a very early age. Go-karts caught your attention. What made you want to try go-karts versus staying with the snowmobile racing?
Because I really, really wanted to get into NASCAR, and I knew racing on snow wasn't going to help me learn to race on asphalt. So when I saw these go-karts for my first time, I realized that there are kids that are being able to race that are my age, and there is something out there for me to be able to learn in. And I never even knew about them until I saw my first race. And I just knew that was like the gateway for me to get into racing and get involved and learn as much as I can to hopefully one day move up into NASCAR.
Very good. Okay. My last question was about the medical issues, and you pretty much already answered it. And I was going to ask you how things were going now, and I think you can kind of cover that already.
Well, yeah, things are going pretty good now. There's a lot of things underlying that can be affected as well with autoimmune diseases. It can affect your eyes and your organs, your heart, your stomach. It can affect so many things. And that's just the biggest thing now is my joints are feeling good. I don't have too much pain, but I just always have to be on top of it and make sure that everything else is, functioning correctly. And that's the hardest part because you can never feel that. You never know if something's not working right until it's too late. So I always just make sure my doctor's appointments and my health always comes first. So just always staying on top of it.
Awesome.
Well, hold on, I'm muted. Hold on. Oh no, I'm not muted. I'm sorry. I thought I was muted. Haha, just kidding. Anyway, so I'm just gonna say hi real quick. My friend John joined, and it's not funny to say this, but like everyone that's like watching has found us through social media and Twitter, but like it's one of my real life friends. So woohoo. Anyway. Hi,
One of my real life friends, like you see him in person.
I know, it just sounds so weird. Like, hey guys, I have friends in real life. I swear. But we're all from on social media talking and getting to know each other. So hey, I'll take it. Anyway, so I wanted to say hi to him. He's a Trucks fan. So good for you on the truck win. Sorry about the cup thing. Speaking of cup, I'm going to ask you about Bristol Dirt, but first we're going to get to Emily and I'm going to have her do her questions.
Hi, Natalie.
Bye.
So it's super awesome to see you streaming on Twitch now. I'm so excited. I'm just curious, what is your favorite stream that you've had so far?
My favorite stream?
Yeah, if you could think of like a favorite like moment or a favorite stream.
I have so much fun every time I'm on Twitch that like every moment's my favorite. But I've recently started playing Warzone and learning how to play that. Like my main thing's iRacing because that's where most of my fans are and that's what they want to see. But Warzone's super fun. And it's fun to like interact and play with some of my fans and now friends that I met through Twitch. So that's really fun. But I don't know what I have so much fun every single time. But there was this one time that sticks out to me that we had this hype train and his username is Salty. So you probably have seen it on the chat. He donated 100 subscriptions to everyone watching. And the hype train, and this is confusing if you don't know Twitch, but it can only go to level 5, and we were at level 5, and it completed it past 100% and went to over 1,000% when he donated all of those subscriptions to everybody. So I love it when like people are donating subscriptions to other fans because some people maybe not be able to afford it, or some people are just new and don't know if they want to spend the money. So when subscriptions get donated like that and then they get to interact and hang out in the chat room with everyone else, I really like seeing that. It makes me really happy that they're not just like supporting, my fans aren't just supporting me, they're supporting the whole community.
It's such an awesome homey feeling too, especially being in a Twitch chat, just watching, especially if like it's first time viewers or if like that's how you gain fans through Twitch, if they're not sure about staying, it's like, hey, welcome, come join our little family, we want you. And then like giving them like a sub, it just makes them feel welcome. It's just like, just like a really heartwarming homey thing.
It is.
So I have another question based off Twitch. So do you have a favorite or a least favorite track for iRacing?
Oh, the short tracks are not fun. Coming from racing in real life, short track racing on iRacing is one of the hardest things to do because it's almost it's like the least realistic. But it's still pretty realistic, but it's just not the same. So my favorite, I would have to say, is the 305 sprint cars at Eldora. We do that a lot, and that's my favorite.
Awesome. Then my final question is, do you have a dream sponsor that you'd like to collab with?
Oh, a dream sponsor? I have so many dream sponsors. Oh my goodness. Okay. Like any sponsor would be great because that's the hardest thing to come across in racing. So I would take anyone. I would definitely love something that's girly, like really girly that you would see ever in the sport, like Victoria's Secret or Pink or something that like would be so unexpected that they would not want to advertise in NASCAR because they probably like it wouldn't really be much for them, but it'd be so cool to like really go outside the box and bring in and pull in really girly sponsors.
That would be so awesome, especially if you were the first driver to do that. It'd be
really, really fun.
Could you imagine like having the Victoria's Secret models like hanging out?
Right? That'd be so cool.
That'd be like in competition with the girls that are up there with Chase or whoever. Like, yeah,
I'm cool. I got the angels.
There you go, right? The paint would be really cool. Yeah, if we could, I know we'd love to have a Fast Lap sponsor, but that's not going to happen because we're doing this for fun. So hopefully one day you get a full female sponsored car. I would be so excited for that to see.
That would be so cool. Then we could all go hang out all as females. A female-owned company would be really cool too.
Yes, and have like a really awesome, badass pink fire suit,
Yeah.
like play up the girl thing. Like, okay, yeah, I'm a girl, but watch me drive better than you. Just saying. That was like, I did these little burnout contest things I used to do at Hooters before Fun Ford Weekend, back when that was like, it was like a thing every year at our local drag strip. And actually my friend John, I said hi to earlier, he went to the burnout contest. It's not really a contest, it's just a party, and it's actually ironically run by Hooters. But I purposely would show up in like the girliest outfits. I'd have like pink on, I'd have heels, I'd have the jewelry, and I would just play up the girl thing. And these guys would be like one, I specifically remember someone yelling, "Don't break a nail, Paris," because my hair was blonde back then. And I just like flipped my hair and acted stupid. And then
Okay.
I can't tell you how many guys came up to me after, because I roasted my tires. I did it 3 years in a row. And they were all like, "Can I get you a drink? Do you have a boyfriend?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good," because you were too busy making fun of me 5 minutes ago. See ya.
Yeah, please.
Is like the whole female empowerment thing. 100% girl, I am with you. Like, yes, we can be pretty and drive like a badass. So.
Yeah.
Amen. So speaking of driving like a badass, now I'm going to ask you about the Bristol Dirt Race. What did you think? What was your first impression?
I thought it was really fun. I thought that the racing was really good. There were a lot of cautions and red flags. So that was hard because like it's fun to see people race really hard and then like things happen and mistakes get made, and it's fun to see that because when they're not used to it. So a lot of mistakes were made and some crazy things happened, but the cleanup time took forever. So I didn't like that part of it.
Yeah.
But overall, it was really good racing. And I feel like the low budget teams did really well.
Yes.
And I really like to see that. It was cool. It felt like everyone was on the same level because the low budget teams were excelling. And it was that made me really happy to see.
Who else was stoked to see Daniel Suarez get a stage win?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I was so happy for him to see him up in the front. And like you said, there was a lot of the lower teams, that, underdog teams that were running well. And I think because they do, at least in my opinion, I don't know for a fact, but I feel like they have a little more experience still doing a lot more dirt, I feel like, or different racing. Maybe they don't get as many opportunities in cup, so they do a lot on the side. I don't know. I guess that either way, they're bad. They're badasses. I was so happy to see that. And Bubba was running good. He was in the top 10. That was awesome. And it's crazy how another new winner, I mean, Joey's not a new winner, but this is our, like, we haven't broken that chain yet. That's so cool. So
I really thought Martin was going to win the truck race and the cup race. I really thought he was going to.
I know. And I actually would have totally been happy for him because he's not had a very stellar year the past year or so. I mean, he still drives good, but I know him, and my husband being a fan, he's pretty pouty after that. And but it was great. I love it. I love seeing the randomness in the races and the finishes, because you've got people like Michael McDowell running top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's been a couple races, and it's like, what? It's so fun.
Yeah, it's fun to see that.
Yeah, it's great. So would you be interested in running at Bristol if you had the opportunity on the dirt?
After watching that, yeah. I was like, before like this race happened, I was like, no, I don't think I'd want to do that. Like, I'd rather just watch, see how it goes. And now after watching it and all the drivers saying how much they loved it and how much fun they had, now I'm really jealous.
Yeah, that's one thing, is they were, frustrated. Obviously, a lot of tempers were flaring because it's a frustrating race. You literally can't see. I had Chase's radio on, and there's times where he's like, I can't see. And same
that
with
was scary. I know. I thought that they were gonna like call the race for a little bit and fix the track, but they didn't do that. They just kept going.
Yeah, it was kind of cool in like a not cool for them, but like for us viewing way, because did you see that pan out shot with all the like the dust in the air, the dirt? That was so cool.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, I don't know.
Blowing of dust.
Right? I was like, this is so cool. It's like a little tornado, and having them race with the little tails, like the tail of dirt. I was like, this is kind of cool. Total geeking out over it. But so speaking of some of the stuff that could have maybe gotten better, what if you could change anything? What kind of changes do you think should be done, if anything?
Like within the sport?
No, but the Bristol dirt race.
The Bristol dirt race.
Because a lot of people, like we mentioned,
track.
they
They did a really nice job. I mean, it was a lot of work to prep that track and get it perfect. But I know they say that they're stock cars. They've always had windshields. They need windshields. But to me, they don't even look like a street car anymore. So you might as well, if we're going to go dirt racing, make the track fun and really sticky and really muddy right away and let them not have a windshield. So that we can race no matter what and not have it get drugged out all the way until the weekday. So I would say take the windshield out. I'm a fan of taking the windshield out.
I know I saw a lot of back and forth on that. I saw some people, I think it'd be a great idea. I mean, they do it in dirt, so it's like, just do it for cup. But then you see people that are also like, oh, well, their mud's gonna just get on their visor and then they can't see.
Tear-offs.
I know, yeah, there's, people are always complaining about something. They're like, meh, meh, meh. But I think that would be fun. And that way, like you said, we don't have to wait forever for it to.
Yeah, and the track can be whatever condition that it's in. They don't need to spend the extra money.
Yeah, like they're testing now the tires for like damp racing. So, because we've had so many rain delays, now they're testing out like the flat ovals with their I'm like, hey, I'll take it, because someone who lives an hour south of Daytona, rain delays are not my friend. So I'm not having it. But okay, so my last question for now, I always have good questions for you, but I don't want to have you on forever. What about the Chicago street course for iRacing? What do you think about that? And do you think we might see it in real life in the future?
Oh, I don't know.
Would you want to see it?
I don't think could it be possible to have it in real life? Like, I don't even know if it would be like
logistically possible.
Yeah, would it? I don't know. Like,
I feel like they did that in Baltimore at one point. Jenny, do you remember that? They did a street race in downtown Baltimore. My sister worked for the mayor's office at one point and watched the race from the parking garage.
Yeah, so like they do it, but would it work? I don't know. I mean, I would love to see it, something like that. Why not, right?
Why not? I mean, they literally threw dirt on Bristol. So at this point,
exactly. We could do anything.
You might as well try everything, because why stop at dirt on Bristol? Why don't we? Somebody, I think it was, I forget who it was. It was one of the
Las Vegas did something today saying that they were going to do dirt as, I'm assuming, an April Fool's joke.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
I bet, because it's April Fool's.
Yeah.
Because Las Vegas has a dirt track right next to there.
That's true.
So that doesn't make sense for them to put
dirt on there. Yeah.
Totally an April Fool's. But I was saying, somebody had asked, like, what track would you want to see dirt on next? And I was joking, but like, Miami, put some sand on it because it's Florida. It's a sand track. Not really, but maybe, because they used to race on the sand in Daytona, so who knows?
Yeah.
Why not? Just take it back to Daytona and do it on the beach. Why not?
On the beach, yeah.
Yeah. You race.
I'd be down. That would be fun.
Fine. It'd be great tailgating, right?
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you for hanging out, Natalie. We had so much fun.
Thanks for having me. This was so much fun. I liked that we got to have everyone here. This was cool. So thank you, everyone, for coming in.
Of course.
Thanks for our crazy ideas.
Yeah. We're a little random, but our main thing is let's have a good time and talk, and so far so good.
That was fun. So thank you so much.
Of course. Hopefully we get to talk to you again soon, Natalie. Best of luck this year. We're going to be looking for you.
After Talladega.
Yes, good luck at Talladega if you're watching.
We can have another little party at Talladega.
On the radio too, on the scanner.
Yeah. Hey, if you're going to be you live in Charlotte, but we're coming to Charlotte in May. So maybe we'll do a little round table.
In person.
Yes.
And go karting, and then spin me, because I won't do very good.
I've never done it, so.
All right, well, Natalie, thank you again. Have a great night. Best of luck. We will be watching for you, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and for everyone watching.
Thank you.
Everything. Thanks, everyone, and have a wonderful evening. It's been Fast Lap with Chrissy and Deb. Good night, guys.
Night.